Welcome to episode 18 of the Movie Lighthouse, shining a light through the fog of film. My name is James.
My name is Laurie.
And my name is Wyndham.
Bless you, my children.
Bless you, dear father.
We have got a quite a troubling episode this month.
Yeah.
We are what's called Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah.
So we are prepared. I've put some religious
It's quite nice.
icons on the table.
Yeah, we've got a Mary. Fatima.
Fatima, I couldn't get married.
She is kind
Sure,
of beautiful.
yeah.
She's standing on a crowd.
On a cloud.
Yeah.
With three doves looking up her dress.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful.
But it looks like she's got like glass fibres or asbestos robe on.
Not very good for you. I'm going to finger it quickly. Yeah, she's very nice. She's beautiful. She's very nice.
I don't think you should finger the Holy Mother.
Why? Look at me. That's very tastefully done the way I'm fingering her.
Anyway, there we go.
And your
Great start.
your holy wine has a Kennedy Space Centre wine stopper in it. Is that because of heaven?
No, it's because I like to have things that remind me of where I've been so I can show off.
You've been to
space?
NASA.
Twice, 3 times.
A lady.
4. They should update the films every year.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that we've got also another Joseph, Mary, and a baby, not baby,
I don't think this is worth noting that.
child Jesus, and then a book of pagan rituals.
Yeah, so
which
we're
we've
all
used in the
covered.
past. Yeah, okay. Right.
I think they're all covered.
If the lights go out, I'll be scared there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got correction from last month. What was
From
the
next
One
from last
correction.
month? I think. Yeah. What was the film that you recommended with that Nicolas Cage was in?
Mum and Dad.
No, it was Mom and Dad. I was looking for it for ages. It's like, where is this film? Has he made it up?
I'm not sure I can bring myself to say Mom.
Well, if you're not going to be correct,
Mom?
Doesn't fly right, does it?
Yeah.
I couldn't find it for ages, and then I found it, and so I think the listeners need to know.
Did you watch it with your face?
No, I haven't had time to watch anything.
Oh.
But apart from that, I found out where it was.
Okay. That's
All right.
Mom and Dad, everyone.
So before we get on to the news, I have an email.
Ah.
Ooh.
They're coming in thick and fast these days.
Right.
So, Wyndham, if you wouldn't mind doing the honours with your wonderful RP voice.
If it's really self-appraising, just scoot over that bit.
Not the bits that if they're talking about me.
Okay, so we have an email here from Mr. Connor McDonald.
That guy.
That guy, yeah. Clearly, he's committed to the show, which is great. Greetings from Toronto. 1978 was also a big year for me as it was the first time I was brought to the movies. This was a formative experience for me as a 7-year-old. I begged to see Star Wars, which played in our small town 2-screen movie house for months. And on the very last night of its run, my parents got all dressed up and I thought, here we go.
Yes.
But
and
no.
he's 7.
Yeah,
Oh.
but no. Our babysitter arrived and my parents took off with the consolation prize that I could stay up to watch the World Cup game that was on that night. Thus was born my love for the Dutch football team of the 70s as they beat Iran 3-0. A few weeks later, my parents finally brought me to my first film, which was...
Go on, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I've read it.
This is a man who is a cinephile, undeniably. His first cinema experience? Fucking Grease.
Yeah. Well, no, come on.
And I have never forgiven them, so evidently didn't...
Oh, Connor, suck it up, bro.
That summer, we also got Top of the Pops on Irish TV for the first time. So while Grease was number 1 in the box office, the songs from Grease were popping up every week as number 1 in the charts as well. Thus began a confusing period for me where I thought number 1 songs could only come from movie soundtracks.
It's the word.
A misconception not helped by Bright Eyes being number 1 for 11 months.
Oh.
Soon after, they brought me to my second film, Superman, which was a slight improvement, but no Star Wars. To add insult to injury, my brother's first film was Empire Strikes Back in 1980.
Fucking hell. I think my first film was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but couldn't really remember it. The first film I can remember was Empire Strikes Back, so I experienced Connor's brothers.
First movie. Nice.
Yeah.
By the way...
I'm glad you put first movie at the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Watership Down, could I interest you in a segment called Down the Rabbit Hole? Ooh. A few nights ago, my lovely wife and I watched the Bill Murray Stories doc on Netflix, great fun, which gave us a hankering for Lost in Translation, which we watched and mostly enjoyed. Which soundtrack gave me a hankering for My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, My Bloody Valentine!
So when my wife rocked off the bed, I continued down the rabbit hole with multiple My Bloody Valentine tracks on
Awesome.
Spotify and YouTube.
Yes, Connor!
My burrowing down the rabbit hole was only ended when I came up on a track Kevin Shields
Yeah. The main dude from MBV.
for My Bloody Valentine Main Man
Yeah.
had done with Brian Eno that I'd never heard before. It was shit and stopped me in my tracks. Therefore, proving the old adage that the only way to stop yourself going deeper down the rabbit hole is to come up on a big turd that sends you back to where you came from. We did a similar down the rabbit hole on Christmas Eve when we started watching Fargo, then went to Die Hard 2 because of the snow,
Yeah.
then watched Trading Places, keep the snow but lighten the mood, then watched A Fish Called Wanda, lose the snow but keep Jamie Lee Curtis,
Keep
then
her.
fall asleep because we were drinking all that time. Down the rabbit hole. If you don't do it, I will. Well done and stuff, and keep doing everything you do. I deleted a shitload of podcasts from my library in the new year, but there was never a danger of deleting yours.
Oh, look at that.
Thanks, Connor. Connor in Toronto. P.S. Zero Mostel, who is from last episode.
He's the seagull.
He is the seagull, and watch it now. Is the famous comic actor maybe best known for his portrayal of Max Bialystock opposite Gene Wilder in The Producers?
Max Bialystock.
You Philistines.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Thanks,
sorry.
Connor.
That's good. That's a good email.
Oh, it's a very good email.
Yeah.
That is great. I love your idea of down the rabbit hole. I mean, obviously we stuck up in a
you're
lighthouse.
constantly down the rabbit hole.
I'm not. There's a lot about rabbits, though, isn't there? If we think about this, I
Yeah,
want to
'cause
explore the rabbit.
Peter
thing, but-
Rabbit was on the rocks. I suddenly remembered.
Yeah.
Was he?
Last
Yeah,
last
we had
episode.
a rabbit
It was.
thing.
There's
Quite
there's
rightly.
definitely in culture and in ideas and in invention and it's, the symbolism of a rabbit is definitely a thing. But that's by the by. Connor, maybe because we're stuck up a lighthouse here, so it's quite hard to find rabbit holes. They're way down, way into land. So maybe he could do a crest the grassy hill.
I can hear
podcast.
I can hear him pushing the delete button. On
Ah,
the podcast
shit.
as we speak.
Shit, I like the idea though. It's a good
We've
idea.
got to rein him in, Connor. That's the problem. If we unleash him down a rabbit hole, who knows what's going to happen? Myxomatosis, I reckon.
I've had my jabs. I never mix my toasties.
All right.
Cheese.
He's got
and
some
ham.
news.
Hi, hon. How's it going?
I've got some news.
Great. Go on, then.
It's not great.
Oh,
Albert Finney died today.
yeah. No, that is sad.
This
Yeah.
very day.
This
All right.
very day.
So what's he been in?
He's been in really good, nice version of Scrooge. He did a really lovely version of Scrooge.
I really like the Muppet one.
Miller's Crossing is a particularly good one. He did
Okay.
with the Coen brothers.
He was in Aaron Brockovich.
I like that film.
Brockleberg, yeah, that
He was
one.
in one of the Bourne movies.
Yes,
Can't
he
remember
was.
which one.
He's turned out to be a villainy kind of
Yeah.
Finney.
He's done.
And
right, so-
really,
He was in Skyfall.
yeah. There's a film. What's it? Oh, Jesus!
Like
Ridley
Skyfall.
Scott. Beautiful film, Ridley Scott. That's got Harvey Keitel in and someone Cassidy brother called The Duelists. That's a really good film. The Duelists. Very, very early. I think it could have actually been Ridley Scott's first film, The Duelist. Very, very good film.
And on a similar level as that, he was Daddy Warbucks in Ant.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there you
Great
have it.
loss.
Well, yes. Anyone else?
No.
I don't mean anyone else that's died. I mean,
Oh,
any
right.
other news?
Any other news? I saw that there's a Ted Bundy film coming out with Zac Efron of all
Yeah,
people.
well, I think that's going to be quite good. Because the thing with Bundy is he was very, charming and
Charismatic,
affable.
wasn't he? Yeah.
Which is a bit like Zac Efron, I imagine.
They can be, though, don't they? Fred West apparently had a certain jib about
But
him.
you don't get away with killing a lot of people without conning a few people
Getting
along the
your
way.
jib. See, this is
Well,
the
none of
thing,
them
though.
got away with it eventually. though.
I've
Good
got-
point,
I've
but
got-
we don't know about the ones that did win them.
That's the point. Yeah.
Do you
Very
know what
good.
they've called this?
Bundy.
No, they've called
Ted.
it Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile.
Is that the film title?
Apparently, I think that's
That's
what-
not the title.
I think it's called...
Say that again.
I think it might be called that.
That's just the one.
Maybe I've got that wrong.
What's it called?
It's not called
Extremely
that.
Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. I
It is
just
called that.
have a
It is-
problem.
Is it really?
I've got a problem with the fact, this motherfucker, it's not a rabbit. You know, it's a real thing. I'm not saying rabbits aren't a real thing. I'm basically saying rabbits could be metaphors. It's not a metaphor. Ted Bundy was a real thing. Real things happened to innocent people. Oh, should we be celebrating this shit?
You haven't seen it, so you don't know whether it's a celebration.
Did you enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody?
I'm not saying it's a step. It could obviously be very damning of this guy, but I don't know. I don't know.
But it's time memorial. Everybody wants to watch the things about. Oh, have you seen the film about Rillington Place, 10 Rillington Place?
Exactly the same. I had the same problem. So it's a really, really great film. But does that repugnant fuck deserve? It's reverence, I suppose the word is.
So you're saying part of why they want that? Some of them want that immortality and that kind of.
So we should have never have known what that twat's name was. We shouldn't know their story.
No, I do.
Screw
I do agree with you actually there.
Screw those fucks.
But then we end up ignoring the victims as well. Don't we?
Exactly, and then we go actually into a space of remember we did Fahrenheit 451 ages ago.
Yeah.
So if I'm actually questioning myself, that offends me. Then you kind of get yourself into this space where nothing means anything, kind of stuff. So maybe I should shut the fuck up.
No, well, I don't know, because they've just mentioned with about the Bulger case, haven't they? And it's not teaching anybody anything because everybody knew about it anyway because it was in the news. So all they're doing is it is kind of a morbid fascination, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if that sits right with me.
I didn't like The Greatest Showman for the very same reason.
What?
Well,
the exploitation, I suppose you're talking
Think
about.
of the innocent victims of that.
But that comes from an angle because it got criticised, didn't it? Quite a lot.
It was also not true. None of it. About 10% of that film was true. I think we should start a campaign on this podcast to put a percentage rating on the front of films about how much is actually true and how much they've just made up to make the film better.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody, 60% true.
That
go
would be
with
good.
it.
Yeah. And then you could have like a very small symbol in the corner when they're just blatant bullshit.
Bullshit. But that's an interesting point because I was also thinking, just going back to the Fahrenheit 451, is like we're scoring these films and we have direction, acting, great categories, categories. But it almost feels like there needs to be a category of not artistic merit, but out of all the films, I suppose Fahrenheit 451 has actually kind of stayed with me, that sort of moralic opinion, point of view, bit that I learned from it.
They need a rating thing on it, because apparently paper doesn't burn at 451 I heard the other day. They just made that because it sounded good.
80% true. We're going to go with that. It's 80% true. All right? But maybe we can tell, when we say life-changing... This is going to be my approach to it. You can approach that one like is it called life?
We could change. Well, we could. I'm always up for changing one of the categories. My only worry about that is it might screw the scoring system up. So it might put a film that wouldn't be higher. Once we started, how can we stop?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You guys roll, but when I come to my life affecting or life changing, whatever that category is called, I'm going to consider if it may have informed my morals or. Is this film going to stay with... I think I've just cottoned on. Fuck.
All right, I've got some news. Ghostbusters 3 is coming out in summer 2020 with the original surviving cast.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Probably set in 1984, I imagine, since everything else is. Or maybe 1985.
Who's not a lot? Oh,
yeah. I was going to say...
Bill Murray's alive.
Trying to figure out the maths.
Dan Aykroyd's alive.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis?
He's dead because he was a bust in the female Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And
Winston's still alive.
Winston's alive.
Yeah.
And
the girl.
But I'm not going to get what's his name because he's firmly in retirement.
The girl's alive. Girl's alive. She's in Pretty in Pink. Rick Moranis is probably looking after his wife, but his wife's probably said, "Go on, Rick, you go out, man." Oh no, she passed away.
Did she?
I think it's only Ernie Hudson. No, he is alive. It's only
Egon.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah,
isn't?
He's the only one that's not around.
Well, no, that's going to be great. I think that's going to be great fun. What do you mean? Is it?
Well, it's not. It's you cannot put the lightning back in the bottle.
It's true that.
And they're all going to be old, and so it'll be old jokes, won't it? Oh, we didn't mention Sigourney Weaver. She's alive.
She's alive. I think I said her name.
I really like Sigourney Weaver.
She used to be. She still is. There's something about her that's like.
Yeah, she's great.
Great nose, great eyes, and she's awesome.
Anyway, so
I think that's going to be good fun.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyone got anything else?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro apparently is doing a thing called Shocking Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes,
it's going to be a series.
It's a young adult comes from a young adult's children's book.
Oh,
or a
does
young
it?
adult's book, I should say. That's an idea.
So that's going to be landing in August.
Yeah. What do we think of Guillermo del Toro?
I quite like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched The Shape of Water for the first time.
Yeah.
A week and a half ago.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But I thought the thing for me with his films is they are always beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
That's kind of his
Absolutely
thing.
beautiful.
Well, actually, no. Look. So
In whatever way he's gone for, because the setting of In the Shape of Water isn't like cinematically beautiful in the way that some of the backdrops to Hellboy and all those kind of things.
No,
But it still has its beauty about it.
you find the beauty in a dirty old bathroom. It's the way it's
Exactly.
lit and the way. But yeah, I mean, I don't dislike it. Danny Baker put me off his films.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
he said when he watched Pan's Labyrinth, he took it out the DVD and threw it out the window. He hated it so much. And because I quite like Danny Baker,
He's the arbiter
I
of your
thought there
film.
was some secret thing I was missing. I just jump on a bandwagon.
I have a suspicion. Now, I love Danny a lot. I've got a lot of time for Danny.
He's a
but
fan of the show.
I have a suspicion that he probably found it a bit hard. So I think Pan's Labyrinth is probably his best film he's ever made, and it's fucking brutal. And it's not the whole fantasy stuff. It's that Franco's oppression of Spain,
yeah.
the guy smashing the other guy in the face with a bottle and all that stuff. It is a film that you can find abhorrent, and it actually could be a film that you could quite easily chuck out the window.
Totally.
I think it's quite tricky. But Del Toro, I do like him, but I think he's almost in a parody of himself now.
Yeah.
I really like Kronos. I don't know if you've seen that. That's a really little a film about like an aging vampire and kind of the virus that vampirism is. That's a really good film. Devil's Backbone's quite good fun, quite good. But Pan's Labyrinth's the one. And then nothing much else.
Hellboy did Hellboy, didn't he?
Hellboy's all right.
I really like
It's
the
all
first
right.
Hellboy. I like both Hellboys actually.
Yeah, so do I. It's
Yeah.
bubblegum, but it's good.
Yeah, but I really like those films. That's also my favourite superhero.
I like the graphic novels of Hellboy, and there's loads of stuff you could do with that. And at the
Well,
moment,
they're
they
remaking.
haven't. They are.
Yeah, the rebooting, aren't they?
They
All
are.
right. Anyone else? I've got one.
No, that's it.
Guess what's 20 years old?
Oh,
So 1999.
yeah.
Our graduation.
That reminds me of all sorts of.
Is it that yogurt back over there by the fridge?
It means something to some of us, all of us. Velvet Goldmine is 20 years old.
Who's in that?
So when we were at college, loads of people went and did it, didn't they? They were all extras. So your wife?
Yeah.
Who else was in it? Were you in it? No, I wasn't in it.
What's the name of the director?
So it was your wife.
It's just your wife.
Todd.
More at the time.
What was the name of the director?
I don't know.
Todd. Oh,
But
God.
I'm going to rewatch it. I
He
think.
did the Barbie doll thing. The
Todd
did he?
Carpenter.
Todd Haynes.
Todd Haynes.
Todd Haynes.
There you go. So yeah, he basically went down to uni, didn't he? And he ushered all you guys. Yeah, I'm making
Well,
a
not
film
me,
over
I
here.
didn't go. I
Oh,
don't know
well.
what I was doing. I was probably with you.
We might have been in the pub.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's 20 years old. Well,
There
there
you
you
go.
go. There you go.
All right, is that it?
That is kind of it. I am aware though something just popped up on Netflix, and I think all of us went off and saw it. I'm very conscious of time though. I don't want to go on too much.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, have you not?
Have
No,
you?
I didn't have time to do it. But
Let's do it next time.
should we do it next night? Is that all right?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about. Shall I say what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, Velvet Buzzsaws just turned up on Netflix. I didn't actually expect that was going to happen. I thought it was actually going to be
Cinema
a
release.
cinema release, but then
I think it has been released into some cinemas so that they can
They're
qualify
doing that so
for
they can qualify for
awards.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check that out, but I won't tell you what I think.
No,
really-
we'll hold it for when you
Yeah,
watch it. You
I
should
really
watch
want-
it.
Well,
because
it was my plan to, but I got
It's
asked to
worth
go.
it.
I'll
It's
say
worth
this
it.
much. I'll say this much. Guys, go and watch it. If you're a bit bored, watch it.
Okay, so we'll definitely bring. That is on the topic for next week.
Okay.
We'll talk about it
Cool.
next time. All right. Okay, in the beam. So let's have in the beam. I'll say it one more time. In the beam.
what are we doing?
You heard it, didn't you?
This is where we all bring a film that we've seen over the past month to the table.
Nice.
And this time, let's have Wyndham's choice first.
Okay, and actually, on topic for a conversation we were just having, is a film I saw today, and because I haven't watched that many films this month, but it is
Ghostbusters 2.
Guillermo del Toro's
Oh!
The Devil's Backbone.
Oh!
I watched it this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's really kind of self-contained, and it's set in the Spanish Civil War, and it's set in a. It's not really an orphanage, but it's basically in the middle of nowhere. This kind of orphanage type thing where these kids, they're all boys, and the sons of the kind of freedom fighters are dropped off there to be looked after during the war, and there's a ghost, and there's some bad people, and it's good.
Sounds amazing.
It is really good. It's worth a watch. Hour and 3/4. Nice, and because it's Guillermo del Toro, it's not. So the ghost bit isn't the big shock. He kind of comes quite early. You go, ooh, hello, but it's the kind of story behind all of that is the. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I'm going to check it out.
Which tends to happen a lot, actually, in his better stuff, isn't it? It's not the
not
actual
the revelation,
supernatural stuff that's the scary. It's just the people.
Just on a very quick note, what's your worst ghost movie? I think mine's Casper, although The Frighteners is pretty bad.
I think the Frighteners has got merit. Worst ghost film. Now you can't just lump that on someone.
I thought of it right away.
Shit it
I'll
out.
come back to you later.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, thank you, William.
That's mine. Yeah.
Oh, right, Laurie.
And that's currently on.
Oh, yeah, good.
What's that on?
Amazon, I think.
Great.
Oh, okay.
Is it Amazon Prime or
It is. I
Right.
didn't pay for it.
Because we need to start
It's
telling
Amazon
people
Prime.
where to go for these things and
Devil's
saying them
Backbone.
properly.
They can Google it.
Mom.
Yeah. Mom.
Your go.
Mom. Oh, Daddy, I've just got some candy. Sienna, it's not candy. It's called sweets. I've got a choice of two. One, I'm conscious it might explode and we'll be going on and talking for ages. Or the other one, neither of you have seen, and I'll just babble on about shit.
Which one would you
God, it's like Hudson's choice, isn't it?
It is.
Just choose one.
It's very, very tricky.
Which of these would you most like our listeners to go and see?
Oh, good.
Ooh.
See,
See, I want to pop it.
Go on.
Mary Poppins.
Oh.
I'm going to say Mary Poppins.
Yes.
All right? The Return or whatever they
I'm
call
glad
it.
you
The Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, it came up on my Facebook, and I think you said on this podcast, I'm actually quite looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, fuck off, mate, it's going to be shit. So it was around Christmas time, just before Christmas. We didn't know quite what to do. And we thought, actually, let's take Sienna and go watch Mary Poppins. You know, it'll be fun, even though it'll be shit. She'll like it. And then, how quickly was it? It was pretty fucking quick, where the credits started coming up, and you get the scenes of maybe what this film's going to be about, the quality of the music. It was just, it completely, very, very cleverly taps you straight back into that kind of Mary Poppins vibe. And I was like, oh, okay, so things started twinkling. And then Emily Blunt turns up. You get the setting of the scene, but Emily Blunt turns up. And then I suppose you get that first sort of magical moment, which I think involves a bathtub and an adventure down there. And I was blubbing.
Yeah.
They did it. They really did it. I wouldn't say they absolutely nailed it. There's stuff about it that genuinely, in my humble, very, very humble, bowing opinion, I think they could have done slightly better. But fucking hell, it was great. It was really, really good.
I had tears in my eyes while I was watching it as well.
Yay!
It was quite surreal. But I when I was growing up, I never really liked Mary Poppins. I don't know if any of us ever did.
No, I liked.
It was okay, but it was just went
No.
on, and there was a few good bits. But I really like it now, and I thought they'd done a brilliant job. I mean, I know some people who really don't like it. They said she's nothing like Mary Poppins, blah blah blah. But I think they worked very hard to capture the style.
Her take is definitely a different line of Mary. You know, if you think about Mary, she's always been quite sassy, quite strict, and that's kind of Julie Andrews' take on it. That strict kind of sternness, which you still get from Blunt. But she's Blunt was just a little bit more kind of sassy. You can get a shot of her upper skirt very subtly. Kind of deep.
What did your wife think of it?
She really enjoyed it. Yeah, she said it was very good.
Yeah.
Really
Okay,
good.
I trust her judgment. But you're...
She didn't talk about the upskirting.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually
Laurie is now
formally an
illegal.
offence in the
It
UK.
could be in my mind,
At last.
but just I don't want to dwell on this, and it's ridiculous to nitpick. But I think the character that kind of is kind of replacing that Bert character.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton, whatever he is.
Lin-Manuel, something or other, who wrote
That's
Hamilton. So he's a very talented man. Brilliant.
Very, very talented man, and he's great in it.
He
but
is.
It's just there's not enough. I mean, it's impossible to compare to Dick Van Dyke. That
Well,
old
yeah, because
school.
he probably wasn't brilliant, was he? Let's be honest.
It wasn't. It's just that, and weirdly, I think maybe Hugh Jackman might have been a better because he's got kind of cut from that old school talent. Anyway, blah blah blah. So he wasn't so great for me. And there's one little bit you get in the topsy turvy part where you meet Meryl Streep,
Yeah.
and she's all topsy turvy and she can't think. And you go into her room, and it's all the ceiling is on the floor, and the floor is on the ceiling, and all that stuff. But weirdly, they decided to shoot all of those scenes the right way up. So all the characters are actually standing the right way up, but the rest of the room is all, you're on the ceiling.
No.
All the such a simple cinematic thing that they needed to do is just put this camera on the ceiling and shoot them upside down. And there's so much more magic
I
there.
don't know. It just that bit made me just think of the love to laugh bit in the original. I didn't like that bit either.
The love to laugh bit is great, and the magic of that is that the fact that they're floating up by the ceiling.
Yeah,
and
but it's
all
quite.
the way
I
through
think
the
they
scene.
followed a very precise formula. It's good. It was all right. I thought the whole bit at the end was stupid.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it was all right.
They tapped into bits. Anyway, so I said Mary Poppins.
Okay, good.
The other one would have been...
No. Right. So mine's a slightly odd choice, but I haven't really had time to watch very many films at all this month, unfortunately. So my choice, and I was teetering between whether this should be in the Beam or on the Rocks. But
I love those
I'm going to
ones.
stay true to myself, and it is The Omen 2.
Ah.
Because after I watched The Omen, which we're going to review later, I watched The Omen 2.
And you're going to be as bold as putting it in the Beam.
Yeah, because
I like The Omen
I
2.
really like it. I mean, if you can't... I was watching it with someone I'd never seen it before. He watched The Omen with me the week before, and then we watched The Omen 2. And I could tell... He kind of got into it, but it was... I loved it, and I remembered nearly all of it, but it has the worst ending of any film.
What do you mean by worse?
Well, nothing really... There's no kind of crescendo. They end up in a museum. She kills... Well, you find out that she's been protecting him all the time, which is like, okay, but when you look back on it, it doesn't really make sense. But it doesn't matter. But okay, and then the museum burns down, as opposed to the first one where it's tragedy on tragedy on tragedy, and you see him with the knives heading back to on the plane and back, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But I do really like it, and it was the thing that got me into the Bible because I started reading Revelation, and then I stopped. I wasn't into the Bible for very long.
So Omen 2 got you into the Bible,
It
not
got me into the
Omen.
Revelations bit, yeah. And I was like, wow, no one said there was this bit at the end.
Yeah.
It's much more
That
interesting.
is the... must be fair. I was brought up in Roman Catholic school by nuns and priests. I was taught the withdrawal method by Sister Mary. It's okay, Laurie. Just when you're about to cuff up your sachet, just take it out and cover our tits, kind of thing. Hey, thanks, Sister Mary.
Oh. That's when religious education was something different.
I know, so great. But anyway, so we learnt a lot of the Bible, and then Omen turned up, and Mum started talking about Revelation, because she was the one that dragged me, obviously, to church and all that shit. So she maybe got to that point where I thought, I've got to make this interesting for him. And she told me about Revelations off the back of Omen, being a thing. Oh, it's really scary.
Well,
and that is the most interesting bit of the Bible.
It is.
It is.
All right, but we'll get to them in a minute. All right, so shall we head off onto the rocks?
Love on the rocks. Ain't no surprise.
Let's give them a look.
All right, Laurie, go on, you go first.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, good.
I've been lucky enough to avoid...
Do you know, I'm a nothing as well.
Really?
I think I've only watched, I was looking through, I'm trying to make a note of what I've seen. I've watched Star Trek and The Omen 2, and the films we're out to.
You haven't watched the films we had to, have you?
No, I have.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought that was an accidental omission.
No, I never do that.
I could mention something.
Don't bother.
All
Go on.
Nice, quick, easy one. Nobody will have fallen for it. I watched it for you. For you all.
You do deliberately do this.
I
don't
do
you?
go and
You
find
back.
something. This is our remit.
Yeah, go on.
It is Dwayne the Rock Johnson's
Oh, wait a minute.
Rampage.
Oh, I don't know Rampage. I thought you were going to say Dramatic 2.
It's based
Big
on the
fan.
game,
Do
isn't
you
it?
remember the game from when we were a kid?
No.
Where, a huge
I have
gorilla,
Manic Miner.
a monster, and a
You
wolf
smashed down the buildings, don't
smashed
you?
buildings, and you had to destroy the buildings. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Don't bother.
Like Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Was that a real game?
No.
Right, so that's where that came from. I realised my two favourite games when I was a kid were Manic Miner and Master Mariner. I used to call it
Yes.
Master Marina.
Yeah, I
Did
had those two.
you
as
have
well.
Master
I had
Mariner?
both of them. Yeah,
How far did you get?
finished it.
You liar.
It
Right.
was an impossible.
Right, basically, I've got it on this computer. Right, it's the hardest game in the
It
world.
is.
You buy things. You've got a shipping company, so you buy bullion, gold, coal, whiskey,
Semen?
and no, it's only 5 things. And then you have to ship them around to Portsmouth or to Liverpool, blah blah. And then you can sell them for a profit.
To seamen.
No, you sell them when you get to the port. But
Portsmouth.
when you go onto sea, you could get pirates, or it could be foggy, or anything can happen.
Yeah.
I get 4 weeks, and because every time you sell, it's a week. I've not got past about 7, it goes useless, pathetic, and I've never got past pathetic. It's really hard.
I got Master Seaman.
Oh, you got Master Seaman?
You did not.
No, I didn't. No.
That's the thick stuff.
Lies. The thing is, because you borrow it anyway. You borrow loads of money
Can
from
I-
the tax company, and then they want it back.
Can I say my favourite games now, little?
Yeah, go on.
Gorf and R-Type. That's it. I'm just saying that. There you go.
Right. Okay, well, is that everyone for On the Rocks?
Yeah. It was short and sweet, but we got to listen to Neil, didn't we?
Okay, right, well, let's get on to our rather spooky episode. Sympathy for the Devil.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
So, Laurie, what would you have chosen?
Do you mean what would have I done? My two choices that I plumbed from
Yeah.
many options was Angel Heart,
Yeah.
which is Alan Parker's lovely, beautiful little film with Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke.
Uh-huh.
Mickey Rourke being fucking awesome.
And what would have been your other choice?
And the other choice that was chosen, Blood on Satan's Claw.
Oh, you'd have chosen. So you've got one of the films is one that you'd have definitely been up for.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so shall I give you some facts about the devil?
Yeah, go on.
Some facts.
Don't go too deep, though.
Okay.
Devil
Stuff
facts.
happens.
Okay.
Hold on. I've been updating my script, so I've got appendices now.
Wow.
Right, so some facts. Right, I'm going to start off with some names for the devil.
Okay.
We have got Satan, Old Nick, Bad Man. Bit shit.
Bad man.
Yeah. Lucifer, Old Scratch, Boogerman, Beelzebub, Old Harry, Old Boy, Old Satan, Demon, Evil Spirit, Prince of Darkness, Old Man, Evil One, Imp, Mephistopheles, Boogeyman, Devil, Diablo, Evil Personified, Old Boogerman, and it continues.
Piers Morgan.
There is. Look, there's pages of it. And there's only one name for Jesus. Okay. Right, so let me give you some other facts. I should have put these in order, really. Okay, so Satan means adversary.
Adversary.
It's a transliteration of a Hebrew word which means adversary or opponent.
Right.
Do you know what fueled the devil's origin story?
He's a fallen angel, isn't he?
Yeah, pride, apparently.
Oh, right.
I was going to say virginity.
So his biblical name's Lucifer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Fallen
Yeah,
angel.
but he's only mentioned like once or twice in the Bible.
Who's
apparently.
your favourite incarnation on film?
Well, we'll talk about that in a
of
bit, shall we?
Satan?
Don't
Oh, right, well, you
blow
go
it.
back to your appendices. How is your appendices?
Satan's
You should have them
domain
removed.
is Earth and Sheol. I thought it was hell. Satan rules the nations of the earth. That's pretty apparent. And he's got his own host of demons. And that's kind of it, really. And point 8, Satan is on the defensive. Satan is a liar by nature, and he has spiritual children just like God. So there you go.
Well,
There's
they are.
facts about Satan.
Wow.
Do we know who Satan's favourite kid is?
Damien, I imagine.
Yeah, it's got to be
I
in
should
it.
think so. Right. Next one. TV and film featuring the devil, Laurie.
TV and film.
So we've
featuring
got,
the
I'm just going to give you a few. Devil's Advocate, Angel Heart, we mentioned. Fallen, I mentioned. Legend,
devil. Yes!
Storm of the Century, Constantine, Pan's Labyrinth, The Prophecy, Passion of the Christ, childhood ends and it continues.
It's
The
a
devil
fairly
was
rich scene
Yeah.
of...
Yeah.
It's a good subject to talk about.
Let me just quickly get this. Who's your favourite? Who's your favourite incarnation of the devil? Is it Al Pacino?
Yes, Devil's
Yeah,
Advocate, isn't
I
it?
quite
Yeah.
like Al Pacino.
He's
Is
quite
it
good.
Robert De
Yeah.
Niro? No, it's
Where
not.
did he-
It's none of them.
Who is it?
It's Tim Curry. In Legend. It's got to be, innit?
Oh yeah, but I'm a little bit
Awesome.
disappointed by Tim Curry. He started advertising. He'll send you a personal video, a
Oh.
personal Q, because he's quite ill now.
Well, yeah, let's bring that into it.
Well, no, but I just think it's selling out slightly. So if you pay him money, you can have a little Q&A with him. But he records it, pre-records it. You send him the questions, and then he sends it back to you. It's
Oh.
like getting that book, where they put your name in it for Father Christmas.
Do you know what I'm seeing now in my mind? Your
A guy with a
parents
bad
sending
throat.
you to the top of the stairs and you listening to a
Shut up.
nighttime
Shut up.
story on the phone. You
Okay.
have to dial the number and just
I'm going to
listen
give
to
you.
a nighttime
I'm
story.
going to give you a top 10 of music involving the devil.
Yay!
We've got number 10, Van Halen, Running with the Devil.
Yeah.
Number 9, The Higher Players, Running for the Devil again. Johnny Cash, Mean as Hell.
Yeah.
Primus, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Max Romeo, I Chased the Devil.
Are you going to say Cliff Richard?
Beck, Devil's Haircut.
That's
Motley
good song.
Crue, Shout the Devil. Elvis Presley, The Devil in Disguise. Mogwai Fist Satan. Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast. Haven't got Cliff.
And you can go to the Rolling Stones.
He's a devil woman.
I just got this from a list.
Excuse me while I juice my too. Anyway,
I think that'll do.
enough with...
Yeah.
Alright, should we talk about the album?
For generations, the Thorns have been a family of tremendous wealth, position, and power. The perfect marriage of Ambassador Robert Thorne and his wife Catherine was fulfilled by the birth of their son, Damien. And then, when the child was 5 years old, something terrible happened. And then it happened again. Was it an accident? Was it murder? Was it a coincidence? Or was it an omen?
God, I'm choking on these peanuts.
You're right.
Do that.
The devil's in the room, I reckon. Okay, The Omen.
Curse.
Alright, let me give you some facts about The Omen.
Go on then.
It was released in 1976, directed by Richard Donner, who directed Superman, didn't he? You feel this?
He did Goonies, Ladyhawk, Lethal Weapon, Scrooged, The Wonderful Scrooge, and Tales from the Crypt.
Okay.
And loads of others.
Screenplay by David Seltzer. There wasn't a novel. Music by Jerry Goldsmith, and box office 60 million.
Yeah.
It won. We have got Oscars here.
Yay!
It won Best Original Score, and it got a BAFTA for the Best Supporting Actress, Billy Whitelaw.
And did you know that Seltzer was he? No, he was the writer. Who was the musician?
Who was the screenplay? Jerry Goldsmith.
So he got an invite to the Oscars because he was nominated, and he didn't go because he'd been to so many before where he'd been nominated and didn't win. He just went, I can't do it again. So he didn't go, and he didn't go the 1 year he won.
There's a lesson for us when we ever get offered an award for our award-winning
You just-
Yet to Be podcast.
Okay. Turn up.
Right,
Won an
sequel-
Oscar for the music.
hold on a minute. Sequels
Why?
and spin-offs. We'll get on to that. Right, so
Those rats
obviously
are back.
there was Damien, Omen 2, 1978. Omen 3, The Final Conflict, 1981. The Little Known Omen for the Awakening, 1991, which I didn't even watch. I don't know if it was
No,
very good
I haven't
at all.
seen it.
And then there was a remake in 2006, which I don't think I've watched.
No.
I have watched.
And then
Any good?
No.
No, I didn't.
They released it on the 6th of June, though,
Yeah.
2006, and it has a cameo from the original kid. He plays...
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
remember what he plays, but he's something in it.
Is he anything like the other kid actors that we've seen throughout the years? Is he like a banker or something?
Could
He's
be
nothing to do with
Yeah.
film.
There we go. And 2 television series. Apparently there was one in 1995 called The Omen. Don't
No.
remember that.
Don't know.
And Damien in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me by as well. All right, notable actors. All right, so we've got Gregory Peck, Robert Thorne, Lee Remick, Catherine Thorne, David Warner as Keith Jennings, Billy Whitelaw as Mrs. Baylock, and it goes down. So I have to say as well, for both these films, it's a bit like it's a bit of a Doctor Who special because we have got Patrick Troughton,
Yay!
and we've also got David Warner, who appeared in Doctor Who about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So David Warner is the baddie dude from Tron, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a brilliant. He's one of
That's
my.
what I was-
He's always been one of my favourite actors, David Warner. Also in Mary Poppins Returns,
Is he?
plays the sea captain.
He does! Of course he does!
There you
Yes!
Good old David Warner.
Yay! Company of Wolves is good in that.
Okay, so Laurie, do you want to give us a synopsis?
Okay. So we're in Rome, and the soon-to-be ambassador of America is about to have a baby, and he's driving quickly to the hospital, and then the voiceover you hear is,
All right, no.
The
I
child is dead.
thought
child is
I thought you were doing it, but you're not.
no,
you're not.
and then he has
no,
a choice.
No. You're doing the whole film.
I'm not.
You are. It's
I'm
basically
not.
you're reading it for the blind. You're saying the whole film. You've got like a minute in. You're saying Wyndham.
Shall I do it in
No,
Braille?
you've had the
I could
chance.
do it in Braille.
No, you've had the chance.
So, a powerful American politician who is currently ambassador to Rome.
That's what I
His
said.
wife is having a baby, and at the point of birth, her child dies, and he is persuaded to adopt another child that was born at the same time. He then brings up this child, and as the story progresses,
Mum
he
is none
finds
the
out-
wiser, is she?
He finds out that actually he's bringing up the son of Satan, the Antichrist.
Oh my goodness! Thank you, Wyndham. All right. Anyone got any connections to this film? I had a poster of this on my bedroom wall for years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What,
what-
the actual kind of billboard poster?
Nah.
Is it of the kid in the grave?
Yeah.
The shadow of
It's
the
hard,
kid is a
it's
grave.
hard to remember,
It's a
but
wolf.
yeah. I certainly had it.
Oh, wait a minute. On my thingy, I've got a grave.
Maybe there were more.
I want to know the original poster. I want to...
All right. When did we first see this, Laurie?
Oh, yeah, probably quite young. Mum would have been talking about it. You said about the connection.
Your mum was a Catholic.
She was a
She
Catholic.
wasn't a Satanist.
She wasn't a Catholic for many, many years. So I was very, very late on in my family. So I've got 2 brothers, 2 sisters that are much, much older than me. Much, much older than me. And then I've worked it out. So we lived in council housing, and around the time they installed the dimmer switch was a new thing, right? And the summer before I was born, it was
dimmer switch allows you to create more of an ambience.
exactly. So anyway, they obviously Mum and Dad thought it must have been a shame to waste it.
Put a
And
bit
they
of Barry White on. Flick the dimmer.
Well, it's Perry Como for Mum
Perry
and Dad.
Como. Nice.
Como went on, and there's me.
Hey!
Here I am, quite young. So Mum's not a Roman Catholic throughout all of this time, and then I think it was
Once
the
you were born,
Thornbirds.
she thought,
Well, no.
hold on.
Thornbirds, yeah. Richard Chamberlain comes on the TV, and she's like, "Well, this is saucy." You know, she's reading her Mills and Boone. Chamberlain's doing it for her. Fuck it, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna become a Roman Catholic, and I don't know if she was.
That was exactly how it happened.
That was her motivations, but for whatever reason, I was brought up as a Roman Catholic. None of my other family
when
were.
did you first?
Anyway,
For God's sake, man!
Well, so anyway, The Omen, and I had a profound look. That child.
Dave, the guy who played David.
Yeah, I looked exactly like that bastard. I had the
Harvey
same
Stephens.
coats, I had the same hair, I had the same cheeky
The
face.
nice
Have you got a
brown
picture?
suit.
We should put
I
it on
need
Facebook.
Deborah needs to send us a picture. I'll ask her. I don't have one on my thing,
We're
but
doing it now.
I will.
We're
Yeah,
not live, are we?
we'll put it up on our Facebook. I look just like that
There we go.
Antichrist kid.
Okay.
But if it's anything like your synopsis, you won't look anything like it. Win, what about you?
I think this was one of those. Remember back in the kind of early 80s when there were only 3 TV channels?
Yeah.
And they got some of these films.
Them were the days.
And they'd play them, and Mum and Dad would record them. And I would, for a period, when they'd go off to work, and I'd have 10, 15 minutes before I had to leave the house after they'd gone to get to school in time. So this 15-minute window, and I started finding these videos, and I watched The Omen over
Wow.
7 mornings of 15-minute slots. So for a week and a half I watched it. I'd have probably been about, I don't know, 11 or 12.
Wow.
And it had a properly, has stayed with me. And even
Yeah.
watching it again for this, there are bits in it that I felt exactly the same about as I did when I first watched it.
Yeah, I think this film is one of the big influences of why I like horror. It feels like it's always been with me, but I think it's probably about the same age as you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I adored this film, and it really put me on the track. And then I started looking for other stuff. But yeah.
See, now I'm going to say no. It's never
chimed with you.
It's
in that
never
way.
really. I get it. I enjoy it. I suppose I like the weight behind the whole revelations bit. That's where you get the real meat and the fact of the Antichrist and the Sun. Oh, yeah, that's meaty. But then I suppose the actual film itself.
I
don't really find
it's a
too
really
much there.
well-made horror film. I
Yeah,
think it
it's quite
covers
solid.
all the bases. The acting's brilliant. The locations are great. The story just moves along at a pace. I can't fault this film. It is what 76 it came out.
Yeah.
The year of
Yeah.
my birth.
Mine too.
It's over 40 years old. Year after I was born.
Yeah. So it's old.
Yeah, a lot of films are old. Still kick ass.
Okay, but all right. But we're going to
It's
get
quite-
on to
it's quite
Blood and
solid.
Satan's Claw, which was only like 4 or 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
And it's
6
leaps
years
and
earlier.
bounds.
Well, that, in your opinion, it's leaps and bounds.
Well, we'll talk about it. Right, so let's start.
Okay.
Go on. So it starts with a tragedy, which is a good sign of things to come, doesn't it?
The child is dead.
The child is... Yeah, go on.
He just says it again, doesn't he?
Yeah, go on
The
then.
child is dead.
Yeah, great.
It's pretty to the point, isn't it? Bedside
Yeah.
manner in that place
Yeah.
is not great.
But what I thought it really... Watching it again after a few years, it moved on really quickly. It
does.
It's not slow.
No. It's definitely not slow. It's
No,
not. It's not flabby.
No, agreed. Although that first bit, bearing in mind my kind of slant on these things now, back in the 70s and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
well, you could always adopt this other kid that his mother died. Yeah, I can't do that. My wife wanted her own kid.
Your
she
wife
doesn't need
will
to know.
Never know. So that's
What
I
a
mean,
betrayal.
It does poses, I do feel that thing throughout this film that, as you're following Gregory Peck through kind of his thing, there's lots of choices.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why he
Would
ends up
I
with the
do
devil's
this?
son.
Yeah.
Because he took the wrong
He's
route.
making the wrong choices again and
Because
again and
they're
again.
not just going to give him the devil's kid, are they? He has to
He has to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like inviting the vampire across
Absolutely,
your
yeah.
threshold kind of
So
thing.
he made
Yeah.
the fundamental error at the start, which sets up the whole tragedy for the way forward. I mean, the nanny bit.
Can
Yeah, sorry.
This is the first
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Shall I
The
give you a
first
fun fact?
Yeah, go on.
Fun fact. Is the daughter of... Oh, I've forgotten. Wait a minute. She's the daughter of
I mean, Holly Palance.
Holly Palance, Jack Palance.
Who's that?
He's the guy. He's the guy, the guy with the face. He's in Batman. He plays like the boss in Batman.
Which Batman?
He's in City Slickers in the first Batman, Tim Burton's Batman.
Oh,
He's in
okay.
City Slickers.
Oh, yeah.
He's in
Yeah.
Goddard film,
Yeah.
Lim Mifley, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Jack Palance, that guy. Anyway, she's his daughter. Anyway, back to that
So
first
how
nanny
shocking
moment.
is... I mean, because that's the bit where it
Agree.
starts to get... because
Yeah.
you've got all that silly bit with the river.
Yeah, so she's basically been taking care of Damien.
And I
And
think
then
she's normal.
Lee Remick, she's normal at that
She's
point.
normal.
She's just genuinely kind of protecting this kid. And then Lee Remick, playing the mother, Catherine Thorne, sees that kind of closeness and goes, actually, you know what? No, he's my child. And then the kid, he doesn't go cross-eyed, but then she kind of...
She's
dog.
She's
She's
talking
the
to the
dog.
dog.
Dog, that's
So basically, I reckon Mum basically looks over and she has a moment of like, wait a minute. She feels this pull.
There's a
pull.
picture
Something's
being
taking
taken
away.
of-
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Damien
they're both
Kids
very
being
ambitious
taken away.
people. He's talking about becoming the president.
Yeah.
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 But I think at that precise moment, I don't think she's just looking. The nanny's like sort of taking him away. I think at that just before that moment when she walks away with him, that's where the dog's already appeared, and she's now being taken over by. We're pulling him away from the mum that thinks that's.
So we know there's a powerful force. And is this force fate? I mean,
There's
is there
loads
anything-
of fate
Is there
through
anything
this
they could have done about it, or were they just fucked?
What do you mean?
Well,
Once he had made the decision to accept the baby as their own and not tell his wife that wasn't the case. No, he's fucked.
No, because there is that fragile piece. So when you talk about fate, there is a massive thing all the way through this film where if you just like isolate Greg and his choices. So okay, do you? Yeah, I'm down to Greg. Have you? Oh, by the way, the vegan sausage roll. You dealt with it yet?
No. They sell out really quickly. Apparently,
they did sell out really quick. When I went in there, they were stocked up. So it's obviously been a few months, and everyone's kind of got off the vine. I had a go though,
and
it's drier.
Is it just not like pastry wrapped in pastry?
It's drier, but it's salty.
Right, back to the point.
Anyway, so Greg has this choice, so he says that choice, but there's loads of other bits. Does he listen to Troughton? Does he do this? Troughton warns him.
So,
hold on. Go
drink
on.
the blood of Christ.
My point would be that as he has made that decision, he can't go back on the decision to accept the kid as his own and bring it up as if it were the one given birth to by his wife.
Yeah.
So when Troughton turns up and says, if you accept the blood of Christ, then you have to do this, that and the other, he cannot make that decision. He cannot make what we know to be the right decision at that point because he's made the wrong decision first and he's on a track that doesn't involve the right decision at that point.
I'm going to give you another one.
Go on.
Nearer the end, he says he meets the guy with the nose, the exorcist dude, down in the
Bugenhagen. Who's not credited?
He's not, but he plays Rumpole of the Baby.
Yeah, and he's brilliant. He's credited in the second one, but
and his daughter,
he's great.
His daughter is in the new Mary Poppins.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
There we go.
Actually, no, that's not his daughter. he was in Rumpole of the Baby. Anyway, blah blah blah.
Right.
Forget that bit.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, the exorcist guy says to him, dude, you cannot falter. You cannot feel remorse or mercy for that kid, man.
Yeah.
And then, so as they're walking away from him, he's walking down the comedy streets, and he goes, "I can't kill an innocent kid," and he throws his knives, and that's what fucks up the photographer. If he didn't falter, if he didn't feel mercy. That's again back to fate. That there is a choice.
So they're looking for the cracks.
There's a choice, and Greg always falls for it, man.
That's
what
but also, I mean, it was an amazing performance by Gregory Peck, I thought.
Did you
not think so?
I thought some of it was very good and some of it was a bit, oh, come on, get away with the breathiness. Kathy.
But he comes from that era of acting, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Right, this is why for me, this film doesn't massively resonate with me because there's not really, apart from the nanny stuff, actually, Nanny number 1 and Nanny number 2, I find both very impressive.
Yeah.
I love the photography stuff, actually.
Yeah.
I will get onto that in a minute. But, yeah, so that kind of acting piece throughout it is very kind of standard by the by. However, there's one particular scene where he finds out that his wife, Kathy, is actually dead.
Yeah.
And it struck me as like, fuck, actually, that is good acting. That bit really tender. Yeah. And he's crying. And I did a bit of research, obviously, just for the podcast before I was coming here. And Gregory Peck, his son, committed suicide only like months before the filming started shooting. And he obviously wasn't going to do it. And his agent went, no, it's going to be great for you, Greg. Come on, get out there. This will help you.
I missed talking about pre-production, so we should mention that actually.
I reckon
about it a little bit.
I reckon that scene where he gets that phone call, there's something real there, and actually, I also found out that Gregory said, I reckon, and him and Richard Donner had a big falling out about that scene. He said that he should get the call. And basically, he should tear the room to shit. Basically, Gregory wanted to lose his shit at that bit, and they had a massive, massive argument. And then only a few months later, once it was in the can, they were looking through the rushes. Greg went, "Actually, Richard, you're absolutely right. You made the right choice." And there's something about that scene that I think that's a good bit of the film. So that is really good acting. But I think the rest of it is quite placid.
And to counter that point of good acting,
he
does very bad shock when he opens the grave and there's the
jackal,
the skeleton of a jackal, because he goes.
But I think
he puts his fist in his mouth.
But there's a problem with that whole scene because it's definitely in a studio.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, it never even occurred to me. But you can really see that it's in the studio. You can really see it's staged.
It looks great.
Do you think so?
I love it. I love it when film becomes a dream, and that graveyard is beautiful. I think it's beautiful.
Let's talk a little bit about Lee Remick, because the character, I thought there was like a subtle point where I don't know who mentions it, but they mentioned she's got a history of mental illness, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said it, but I think she plays the mental health line quite well, because you're not really, we know that it's the devil at work, but everybody else around, is she just being highly strung?
Yeah.
Or does she like the kid? Does she hate the kid?
Well, again, this is the thing, though. As you go along the film, it's at what point do you think, seriously, shit's going down here?
At what point would you decide to kill your kid?
That's it.
At what point would you decide everything's so screwed up that I have to kill your child?
Yeah,
you would be in the same position. You'd deny everything.
No, absolutely true. And I found myself, it was at the point when you get the ambassador saying, right, okay, that's it now, I'm going to have to do it. And it is the part where Kathy dies. I think, I was generally thinking, I kept questioning myself, would I? Okay, yeah, it's now. So that kind of timing of that kind of emotion.
But he doesn't make the decision then. Because he only makes the decision once he's come back and found the number under his hair. So he's still in that kind of, wait a minute, I'm not buying it yet. I'm not buying it yet, but enough has happened now that I have to go and check.
Yeah.
But I haven't made that decision yet.
Yeah. Quick one, just to say though, the acting when he opens up the grave and he sees the Jekyll and he puts his hand in his mouth. I was working in an office, and it was I think I must have been working quite late, and then a mouse shot out from under the desk, and I stood up and went, oh! And I put my hand to my heart.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That's not...
What was I doing? I put my hand to my heart and screamed.
It happens. Mice
if
are
you
very, very
filmed
frightening.
me then, you would have gone, Laurie, mate, sort your acting out.
But
I meant every moment of it.
And the other bit of poor acting, one of the other bits of poor acting on Gregory Peck's part, is when he meets up with Patrick Troughton's character down in Putney on the river.
Oh, I
and
love
he gives
that
him
scene.
that supposedly Revelations bit, but it's not in Revelations, it was written specifically for the film.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, okay, you've had your 5 minutes, I've listened to you, I never want to see you again. He does his waggy finger acting, which is rubbish.
Yeah.
All right, well, look. What do you think of Patrick Troughton?
It's probably my favourite bit. I like him the most.
He's not my favourite bit, but he is good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a great actor.
It gives me my favourite scenes in the film. It's. I love that meeting at Putney by the river. Because there's that connection again.
We know Putney well.
We studied basically Roehampton was just up the road, so we drank a lot, just probably on that bench that they had that conversation. But that when he starts walking back and the wind starts coming, I like a horror film again. Like I say, kind of that dream stuff, and that moment where the priest is walking back and the wind's coming, the thunder strikes and all that, and the spike goes through him. That's kind of one of my favourite bits. But also as well, Patrick Troughton has a striking resemblance to this. Back in the 80s, we used to have these books called, what were they called? Unbelievable facts about ghosts, UFOs and sightings and stuff like that. I made a note actually of what the name of those books were, but I can't find it. But what was it called? Damn it, I want to find it. But anyway, there's this. And in our generations, there was this famous photo of this guy sat in a taxi, and he was really proud of his taxi. And he's looking out, black and white, really grainy photo. And in the back seat of that taxi, there's something sat there. And you can't quite figure out what it is. And this guy's just looking really proud. And I used to spend hours and hours just staring at this black and white photo and just obsessed by it. And give me chills, and I'd scare the shit out of myself. And that guy looks just like Patrick Troughton. And again, this film, you have that whole photography, that fate stuff that this guy, the photographer's seeing. So obviously the priest, you've got
I've always found that problematic.
Yeah. Because
it's like, with the priest, you could kind of see, oh, here it comes. But does it work for everybody? I mean, what happened when you took Lee Remick's photograph? Was she like in plaster of Paris?
Well, yeah, that photographer should have taken everyone's photograph.
Yeah.
Because
it's a funny, but I don't know whether I don't know. It was to get David Warner in it, who I thought was Mr. 70s man. Really.
He was a dandy, wasn't he? Bit of a cad.
Yeah.
A chancer.
Yeah. All right, look, we've got to move on.
Can I just say, for me, the best performance in this is Billy White.
Yes.
By a
With
country
an Oscar.
mile.
Or a
And-
BAFTA.
And it turns out that when they originally wrote the original screenplay for Mrs. Baylock was this warm, effusive, really cuddly Irish nanny. And Billy Whitelaw came in and went, nah.
Yep.
I am going to raise this. And that is the bit where... And there's a thing about films of this era, and actually the next film we're going to talk about, Blood on Saints' Claw, does it as well.
Yeah.
They do a close-up of the eyes.
Yeah.
And the close-up of Billy Whitelaw's eyes when she
Scary
comes to the hospital
as fuck.
to fuck up Lee Remick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the bit that stayed with me from when I first saw it, and when I watched it yesterday. It was just before I went to bed, and I had to tell myself I was 43 years old, and this it's swine. She is magnificent.
I completely agree, actually.
All right.
I know I was bigging up Troughton then, but you're absolutely
Let's
right.
move on a little
She is
bit.
the
Yeah, I
scary
think
thing.
she's a standout person.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the effects. So we got a child on a scooter before Kubrick.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
after Kubrick.
It's not.
No, it's Shining.
Shining was
80.
80.
Oh my goodness! All right,
Yeah.
sorry. I'll think of that.
I didn't think the bruising on Lee Remick's face is very good. I don't know. I just saw the makeup. I thought it looked really poor.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah.
I think the decapitation's quite good.
Dodgy bird makeup. The guy with the burnt eye. The priest.
Oh, yeah, that was a bit.
That
dodgy.
was-
It wasn't that bad.
It was a bit. It was a bit Star Trek.
Yeah.
Who's the guy in the Star Trek who ends up in the like a Dalek shell?
Oh, Davros.
No, in Star Trek.
Oh, Davros. I don't recognise
Davros.
Star Trek on this podcast.
All right, fair enough.
Only Doctor Who. And can I say again? Sorry.
No, there's an episode of the original Star Trek series where Kirk is put on trial somewhere, and an ex-Starfleet officer who's been hideously deformed. He's now in a little
yes, I have
remote
seen that
control
one. Yes.
Dalek base,
Yeah.
but can't speak, and it's all through my.
You guys are going deep, man.
Yeah,
Anyway, he looks a bit like that.
Yes, he does. You're absolutely right. And he has a whole fantasy world, doesn't he, where he could bring girls to life or something.
Oh, I don't know about that much.
All right, anyway. What's your favourite effect? Mine was the head chopping off. Like that.
Yeah. I think because actually, and then when later you see the head skim, is not as good.
No.
But the actual bit where the glass hits.
Yeah, but the memory of it. was
it's very good. Yeah, I liked it. Laurie?
I don't know.
All right, well,
It's not exactly an effects-heavy film.
No,
It's not an
but I'm
effects-heavy
just saying.
film.
But there were things. All right, but there were deaths, if you want to say,
Yes.
that really stood out. The nanny,
The
jumping
first
from the
nanny,
window,
definitely.
Patrick Sharp,
Especially
getting stabbed through.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you saw The Omen, and therefore the first time you saw that nanny? Damien,
Yeah,
it's all for
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
And just that. Well, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
Takes a step off.
There's some
It's a
beautiful-
shock factor
Yeah.
as opposed to the execution. Yeah, I'm not talking about the makeup.
And the director was adamant. Richard Donner was adamant that there should be no supernaturalness in it, or as little as possible. Because he was saying none of the deaths should be supernaturally motivated. They should all be something that could have happened.
So
that you're there going, this is forces being.
Yeah, so the wind
moving
could have
pieces.
picked up. It could have knocked that spear off.
That's a bit far-fetched. And,
Yeah.
and he could easily have just taken half a step to the left.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
All
All right.
I'd say it's
What do we think of the music?
I liked it. I don't know whether it deserved the Oscar because I don't know what
I
else was
don't
that year,
think
but
it. No, I don't think it deserved the
But
Oscar.
they wrote. But it's that music.
genuinely, the chanting and the
that
it
was
genuinely
originally
adds.
written for it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
So
genuinely
that's the
adds
thing
to the
that it
film.
I
was.
suppose you haven't had anything before, as far as I can tell. That's kind of again just like
If you
tapping
played
into
that
the
music and
revelations
you asked
and the
the
culture
population what
of
it
Bible.
reminds you of, they'd say demonic.
Yeah. Well, they'd had The Exorcist before that, and there was music in it.
Yeah, but they didn't go oh,
No,
blah,
they
blah,
didn't.
blah, blah.
No, I thought it was
They
great.
got you like
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Bells.
think it fits the film perfectly. He did deserve his Oscar. You shut up.
yeah,
I
no,
think
fuck
so.
it, yeah. And I reckon he should
All
go
right,
to the
all right. Let's wrap it up then. Has anyone got anything else they really want to say? I'm going to get on to memorable scenes. I've got Nanny's suicide and Patrick Chan's death scene. And I put it. He probably had time to move.
yeah, he definitely had time to move.
What was your memorable scene?
memorable scene. It's the nannies. It's all the nannies stuff. Number 1 and number 2, really, and then Troughton being spiked
Yeah,
And I suppose Damien's smile at the end.
that's creepy as well.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So mine is Billy Whitelaw,
Yeah.
and especially the bit when she goes to the hospital. But I've said this before about other films we've watched. I think I mentioned it about Hereditary, and there have been a few others. Why, given the size and how nice that house is, well, if you're into that thing, the house they've got is massive.
Yeah.
You look at the corridors, it's all nice and white. They stick him in this creepy attic room where even if he wasn't the son of Satan, he would turn evil just being in that bloody room.
Well, you don't know anything
Decorate.
about the upper classes, Wyndham, because who was saying to me, why did they go up the other stairs? It wasn't. Oh, it was Jim who I went with who watched it. Went, why did they go all the way around the house to go and see the nanny? It's like, because
that's where they
the
live.
servants use the back stairs, they use the main stairs. So yeah, the children had to kind of be snuck away as well, didn't they?
Stick them away, man.
it's
If
their
you
own
can,
fault.
stick
All
them
right.
away.
So just before memorable lines, do you think Damien, the character, was evil or not?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Now we're not talking about Omen 2 because
No,
we know
exactly.
what happens in Omen 2.
Exactly.
We know he doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
That is like a real reading out the old actors from the 60s,
Yeah.
isn't it? Really
So-
bad acting in that.
No.
I would agree. I don't think he's conscious of anything.
But
I
he
think
hasn't-
He's just
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's being told and knowing though, because you got this sense that he feels afraid and just sort of a bit scared. But then there's these familiars that appear.
Have no
first
fear, little one.
in the
I
dog.
am here to protect.
Exactly, and her, and then that sort of gives him the reassurance. And I think then he starts realizing.
So has anyone got any lines that stood out? I've got a few more. Shall I give you some?
Yeah, go on.
You know, you could be too sexy for the White House. And
Proper creepy, isn't it?
what could be wrong with our child? We're beautiful people, aren't we?
Yeah, that's brilliant. So none of them stand out, but other than his breathy acting, it was when
Yeah.
she says, "Oh, Richard, get me a psychiatrist," and he says, "I will. Of course I will." This is really all right.
Brilliant.
Stop being creepy.
All right, let's.
Look at me, it's all for you.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's one of my favourites. Right, shall we start?
Oh,
then?
actually,
yeah.
there is a really great. So when Damien rides his trike into Lee Remick,
Kathy.
she
Yes.
falls. He's in hospital. Richard Thorne charges up there, and he kind of goes. The doctor says, "Well, she'll recover." She goes, "She's pregnant." No.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the bedside manner.
Yeah, and it's almost as if saying, "Okay, everybody, put your hand up if your wife's pregnant." Richard, not you. It's just this kind of brilliant. No. You're wrong there, my friend. Anyway, sorry.
And Patrick told him. Kill the child.
And
Yeah.
it's a good job this was back then and not now, because he'd never got those 7 lives onto a flight now.
Absolutely not.
True, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, I think we're having a film about the devil in the 70s is very different than having a film now. I don't
100%.
think people are scared anymore.
No. Well, it was of that era with The Exorcist
Yeah.
and Rosemary's
People,
Baby.
we believed that there was this thing out
Yeah.
there waiting
Yeah.
to get us.
Well, and if you think of, even
And it's just coming
all
for you,
these
isn't it?
things about the curses associated
Yeah.
with this film,
And there were many actually.
well, there were
I've
lots of
kinda got
things
a
that
list
went
of all the
crazy bonkers.
Yeah.
But the advertising campaign that the studio came up with was be aware of anything unusual happening. Anything
Yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah.
normally
Right.
see because
Yeah.
it is the curse of this film. It's Satan and he's ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of those things, because there were a couple where they were saying that Richard Donner and Gregory Peck took different flights from Italy to
Did they?
London, and they both got struck by lightning. And that was supposedly the curse. But I was sat there kind of going, really? But these planes are in the sky, of course they get struck by lightning. And a plane is struck by lightning, on average, once every 1,000 flight hours, right? Which effectively means that every plane in the sky gets struck by lightning at least once a year.
Right.
The fact that they both got struck by, you kind of go, okay, it's
Yeah.
unusual, but it's just, they're planes in the sky where lightning lives.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what happens. Not a curse. And a lot of these curses, you kind of go, is it a curse?
Yeah. But,
Lee Remick,
but
tripped
it's
and
also,
twisted
but it
ankle.
also makes a good story.
Exactly,
does,
exactly
yeah.
that. And that was the kind of point. That they're all just kind of, yeah, well...
Well,
And
we'll
the guy-
find out because...
And the effects, the guy who designed the effects for this, was in a car crash 2 years later with his girlfriend. It crashed head-on into a car. The car's wheel came off and decapitated his girlfriend in a shocking
Well, that is quite
similarity
a shocking way to
I
go.
completely agree.
I mean, that doesn't happen once in every 1,000 hours, does it? Crikey. Let's score it. I think we've talked enough about the
Okay, let's
devil.
do it.
All right. Performances. Laurie, kick us off.
Let's go 6.
5.
8. Oh, no. Laurie, Wyndham, effects. All right, just before we do this, just for time, you understand how I do this? Wyndham, I know you do, that I do it in a rotational system.
Yeah.
Okay, so just be aware of that.
Okay.
Okay. Effects.
7.
6.
What do you mean? 6.
Plot 9.
I was right me again.
It goes always rotating clockwise.
8.
8.
Rewatch factor, Laurie.
6.
Agree 6.
9. Can't believe you guys. Wyndham, direction.
Direction 7.
7.
6.
Cinematography. 7.
5.
6.
Sound of music, Laurie.
6.
8.
8.
It's not an Oscar.
Enjoyability, Wyndham.
Enjoyability 8.
7.
The 9. I'm sorry, my fault. Life-changing past or present, 10 from me. Right, Wyndham.
6.
Life-changing. Oh yeah. By the way, just need to
Let's
add.
add to the score.
Just need to add.
Just have to tell us.
Just need to add it. It's related to
All
this
right, then, go on then.
particular score. My mum. Back to my mum again, because I look so much like that.
Well, we'll be the judge
Bastard.
of that.
She checked my scalp. She checked.
I bet if you checked, you do a bit of checking, you might find she was a Satanist.
So for that, it's gone from a 6 to a 7.
And did you know that in the first screenplay, the kid was called Damlin?
Oh my God, could you imagine nobody naming your kid Damlin? It's not quite the same, is it? Because, I mean, it has had such an impact. Who named their kid Damien?
Yeah.
Well, it did obviously.
Delboy Trotter.
It
Yeah,
ruined the
and
name. It ruined the
absolutely.
name Damien. The reason why they came up with that, I think it was because Father Damien was the first one to
And the
look after the lepers in Hawaii, all that stuff. But the Richard Donner was originally going to call it the name of this kid, which was a friend of their family. And this kid was an absolute brat, and they were going to call it exactly that kid's name. But his wife said, "No, you can't do that."
That's not fair.
Right, 81.
81. Strong.
Wait a minute, I'm nearly there. Have you done yours?
Yeah, preschool.
Okay.
Wyndham, what was yours?
Mine was 68.
And Laurie.
57.
So, Wyndham is going to work all that out.
68.6 recurring.
68 points. Or
6
6
can't
recurring.
6 can't recur.
68.6666666 you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
my
when I was scoring mine, I
That's
thought, oh
nervous.
man, if we can come out with 66.6.
Oh my god, that
would
is
be great.
nervous.
But we didn't.
I'm going to finger
Yeah, but
Mary
the devil,
again.
the devil would never be that obvious, Wyndham.
Wouldn't he?
Oh my god, Mary
What
looks
was
really
it,
scary
68?
now. Look at her now.
Did you
Look at
also
her
know?
face.
Did you also know that at one
I'm
point?
sorry, I'm not. I'm just going to stroke you.
Do you want to know some actors who were in line for the role of Richard Thorne?
Yeah, go on.
Roy Schneider.
Roy Schneider.
Oh, he'd have been good.
Roy Schneider. Charles Bronson was offered the role.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't
Charles
get it.
Bronson.
Charlton Heston
Yeah,
was offered
Charlton,
the role.
Charlton.
And the reason he didn't do it is because he didn't want to be in Europe on his own over the winter.
Are there any guns in it?
The most random,
Yeah, go
Dick
on.
Van Dyke.
Oh, my God. Amongst you. Right, anyway, no, come on, let's move on.
No, also the guy
Quick.
that plays the guy in Omen 2, he was asked and he turned
Yeah, he
it
was.
down.
Yeah.
And then he turned
Ah,
it
right,
down.
okay.
Actually, I haven't got any good gigs, I'll do it.
All right, so it gets, it slots in between, just under Phantom of the Paradise, over Salem's Lot.
It's above Salem's Lot.
Yeah, which I'm pleased about.
No, it's wrong.
All right, so let's look at our second film, which is Blood on Satan's Claw. Let's have a clip.
When the grave of the devil is disturbed by the plow, the satanic essence of evil wreaks violent and revolting revenge.
But it weren't human, sir. They were fur.
Then it was an animal's remains.
It were more like some fiend.
And the evil grows quickly. attacking first the youth of the village and making them the devil's children.
Look! Oh, God, I prayed I'd never see that again. That's what they call the devil's skin.
Doctor, witchcraft is dead and discredited. Are you bent on reviving forgotten horrors? How do we know, sir, what is dead?
Right. Okay, Blood on Satan's Claw. Shall I give you some information about
Please
it?
do.
Okay.
yeah.
It's released in 1971. Director Piers Haggard. Screenplay by Robert Wynne Simmons. Wasn't a novel either. Music by Mark Wilkinson. Box office, 82,000. Did do well. No awards.
So, box office was 82,000 in its day.
Yeah.
And it cost 70,000 to make.
Yay!
So
Right,
Success.
just. No spin-offs or sequels. Notable actors, we've got Patrick Wymark as a judge, Linda Hayden as Angel Blake, Barry Andrews as Ralph Gower, and it goes on. But it is part of part 2 of the Doctor Who special. It had Wendy Padbury, who plays Zoe Harriet, opposite Patrick Troughton.
She plays Kathy in this.
Yeah. We had Anthony Ainley, who plays the Reverend. He was a master in the 80s, so we all remember him. Yes. Same character. I think he had one acting style. And someone who wasn't credited, the cover member who lures Padbury's character to her death was Roberta Tovey, who appeared as a child in the film movie Doctor Who Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150
With Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Yeah.
It was also released as The Devil's Touch, Satan's Claw, and Satan's Skin.
Yeah. Well, Satan's skin would probably be more apt than out of all of those titles.
You saw the claw once, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which...
You saw the claw a few times, to be fair.
Yeah.
You did see it a
Okay.
few times.
Well, Laurie, why don't you try and give us a synopsis?
Right, so we're back in old England.
gotta
What
be-
kind of era are
It's got to
we?
be medieval.
Yeah, well, I
No,
put...
maybe not.
Not
17th century.
I put 18th, 17th century. It's
Yeah.
pre-Victorian.
Yes, I'd go. So where you got buxom ladies?
Yeah,
You know,
But buxom ladies
people
is very
are
different
milking.
from buxom.
people are milking cows,
yeah.
stuff like that. And
That happens today.
well,
That's how you get milk.
yeah, but
From
like
cows.
this. What's the what?
Oh, hand milking.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I've got a beautiful technique.
Okay, time's up, Wyndham. You're doing really well that time.
I wasn't I?
Yeah.
Can I have a quick go?
No. You'll try again next time.
I'll be quite good at it.
No, try again next time.
A farmhand ploughs a field unearthing some remains, and the devil takes over.
Ha! All right. Okay, so anyone got any connections? When I put the film on, Columbo started to howl into the air. Never done that before.
Goodness.
Great.
The curse of blood on Satan's
I know, it's
claw.
a bit freaky. And both movies are British. That's the only link I could get with the other one. Oh, and obviously all the
The
Doctor
Doctor Who
characters.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Doctor Who
pretty
stuff.
linked.
And they do both use the close-up of eyes to show evil women. So Billy Whitelaw in Yeoman,
Yeah.
and then Linda Hayden. You get a close-up of her when they're...
You get plenty.
but right, literally letterbox around the eyes kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, so first memories, I only saw this a couple of years ago. On your recommendation, Laurie,
It was,
Yeah.
and on Mark Gattis's recommendation to me.
They love it. The League of Gentlemen guys absolutely love this film.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. What about you?
I saw it today.
Yeah. All right. I really like the titles with the crows.
Yes, very good titles.
Yeah.
Really? All right. Okay. Whoa. Come on.
I've
let's
got here
get-
Catherine Coxon does horror.
Right. Okay. Look. Wait a minute. So, the music, all right, is okay. I was quite surprised by the Omen winning the music. I understand like the whole stuff, the gospely guys doing their thing, but the music to this, that line of that sort of crescendoing or going down, whatever that word is in Italian, of the flute and the clarinet is beautiful. It's on par. I love Rosemary's Baby, all right? That would have been one of my choices for When the Devil Turns Up and Does Shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't choose that because it's too obvious. So I thought Satan's Claw
Well, we didn't
definitely
give you
was.
that choice.
But yeah, you did. You said it's devil. Sympathy for the devil.
You could have argued it.
Sympathy for the devil. I could have easily...
Who chose?
I chose.
Oh, right, you could have done. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, but I didn't plumb that one up because it was too obvious. Anyway, I was just really pleased to hear that music because it's like, oh my God, this is really, really great. And that opening bit is great. And I was just struck by the quality of it.
It wasn't. I quite enjoyed. I thought the quality was all right. It's a bit honey.
Oh my God!
Do you mean the whole film or the
Yeah.
music? Do you know what? I'm completely indifferent about it, and it might have been because the version I saw is uploaded to YouTube,
Louise.
and it's not very clear.
Oh.
I spent
You don't
90%
Prime.
didn't find it on mine.
I may have bought it. No, I didn't.
I spent 90% of the film wondering whether Ralph was Roger Dogtree. It was all a bit blurred. So for me, it was just a bit.
Ralph was hot. He had great hair. My wife thought it was a wig, and I came to the conclusion it wasn't a wig. It was just gorgeous, gorgeous hair. But no. Go back to that format of how you watch things. Is it important or isn't it? It seems like maybe in this case it is. I mean, I watched it in a really, really... It was only DVD quality, but, really, really clean cut to it. And what struck me is just how well it's made, how well it's framed. The acting, okay, hammy to a degree, old school kind of sort of British filmmaking. But it has that's kind of what this story is. It's related to the British countryside. You're digging into the land, and there's the devil been brought out, and he starts slowly, infecting the children, bizarrely appearing in someone's floorboards close to the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
So there's some strange wonkiness to it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
There was a lot of
thoroughly enjoyed it.
A lot of horror films were kind of set in that period during the 70s, weren't they?
Well, yeah, or the Hammer horror film, and this film actually always gets confused.
And it's not Hammer, is it?
It's not Hammer. No. So Triton, they recently had a success with a horror film, and they're like, okay, this is the film production company, and they wrote to that Russell guy, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, can you write us something nifty? He was only 22 years of age, and it was very a la mode at the time to have like 3 parts.
Yeah.
Like a portmanteau kind of film.
Uh-huh.
And that's how it was originally sort of guised as a script, and they really liked it, so they commissioned him. Okay, let's do this, let's make this thing, and then literally at the last hour they went, actually no, we don't want it to be out of a portmanteau, we want it to be a full film, and he just quickly did it. Yep, fine, I always wanted it that way anyway, and then that's why you've got it kind of where it is, and that I suppose that kind of that clunkiness you probably get from it because it was originally designed as 3 separate acts.
Right, okay. That makes sense. That does make sense.
The madness of the fiancé bit, the Peter and the fiancé was initially teed up to be one story.
Yeah.
The judge versus evil was another story.
Right.
I think it was
and then
third,
the kids.
And the kids being
now
possessed, taking over
that
the
makes
village
a lot of sense.
was like the middle story.
Yeah. But didn't it strike you? I mean, you say, oh, it's all right, it's okay, I'm indifferent. Don't you feel like there's a real brutalness to this film, that comes really quite quickly? Because I suppose I can't imagine what it was like to be in the 17th or 18th hundreds or whatever, rocking up on a horse with my new-to-be wife. I love her, and I go to see my aunt or whoever the fuck I'm with, and I can't sleep with her, so she can stay up in the attic. Bastards! And I know she fucking knows something. Anyway, so she goes up there, and then the film's only just bloody started, and she's gone completely mental.
Well, so
they're locking that door, smacking that door down. And I suppose in our nowadays world, you'd have a certain rationality of like, actually, I'm going to say, can you kindly not lock her in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
But maybe in those days, brutality.
Everybody sort of, just the way society was,
subservience.
You just looked up the chain to, well, who's the most senior person here and we'll do what they say. So the judge is the most, well, no, we're going to lock her in, and we'll get the guys from Bedlam to pick her up.
Yeah,
well,
she knew. I reckon that aunt knew that she was stuck in there with this horrible thing that was twisting her and minding her.
I didn't get that, but that could have been I just missed something.
I just thought she came out being really annoyed, saying, she's just scratched me on the face. She was smacking the hell out of her. What did she expect?
She's a fucking
You're right,
cow.
there is that level of brutality.
There's a lot of brutality.
All right, well, let's talk about the rape scene, because that was brutal, I thought.
The rape scene?
Yeah.
That
oh my God.
apparently wasn't in the script.
No.
Right.
It was on the day they all got together and went, we should do this.
Even
the chant.
Let's do a bloody rape.
I mean, it kind of fits in with Satanism, though, doesn't it?
It was disturbing.
But it's the thing is, it's kind of, you know, it's not a nice scene, but it's where you've got it's not kind of as bad as rape in my twisted, silly mind. Is because you've got all the ritual around it, because all the other kids are around it. They're part of it. They know what's going on.
When you say kids, you mean the guys who are like 35 playing kids?
Yeah. The guy with ginger hair is 50. There's no way he's not.
I mean, I think that let it down, because they kept talking about, let's play a game, and they weren't children.
No, they weren't.
Well, no, they're not children, but they're like...
But they were supposed to be children.
No.
Well, I think they were.
They were supposed to be, because they're in
They
school.
they're in school.
Yeah, well, they're kind of pubescent.
They
all looked
They
in their
were
40s.
pubescent.
Yeah, but this
They
is
were...
back in the 1700s. Have you looked
They've had
at
a hard
people...
life.
If you look at people in the 1980s...
They've been working since they were 4.
If you look at people in the 1980s and you find out their age, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, maybe.
You're 20 years old, then you look like 90.
Yeah, all right.
So this is... You imagine looking back at people in the 1700s, you look at a 16-year-old, he probably looks 50.
Yeah, well, all right, that works. In that case, they cast it brilliantly.
It did.
But your point about that scene, it is actually really interesting, because there's it's almost as if, with the kind of terminology of today, the consent element of that scene changes. So she is, yes, it's definitely a rape, but because of all the Satanism going on around it, shortly after that kind of rape commences, she's into it. Or she's taken over by the evil spirit and therefore is into it, and you kind of go, oh, that's changed it, and then she gets a knife in the back.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So let's talk about the judge. Do we think he did a good performance?
Patrick Wymart?
Yeah.
Nah.
No, he started all right. I think it just went a bit...
the
judge. I'm the judge.
Right,
I'll come back when I'm ready.
Yeah. So you said no, you said no.
Yeah.
I say he did a fucking brilliant job. I think he does a brilliant job. And I find it hilarious. I'm quite upset we're getting right to the end already. We're talking about a rape scene and, you know... But when he gets the big sword out at the end, the big Lady Hawk saber, the look on his face,
and they
go
pause
slow mo.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know, as a viewer, again back to my dream stuff. You might think, oh, why did it stop? But it just plays in your mind. It plays into your memory.
Why can't he stop? That's what I think.
It was.
Did anyone notice Barry Chuckle? It's played the Doctor. The guy who played the Doctor, it was just like
the guy
Barry
who
Chuckle.
takes
He
off
does look like Barry Chuckle.
the skin of the...
That's right.
Yeah. I'll have to do something about that to me.
The thing that with the judge, when he says he goes back to London, borrows the book from the priest, or the doctor, goes back to London. He said, "I will return when I'm ready," and then Peter or whoever goes to London, and the judge says, "I am ready to return. But understand, I shall use undreamed of measures."
Yes.
Dogs and a sword.
Yeah. What I love, it's like, I must see that book. I must take that book with me. Show me the drawing. That drawing. It was like someone had, the devil looked a little bit like drunk. It was, it's like someone had just drawn that about 5 minutes before the scene.
There was a certain juju of old Nick about it.
Let's talk about the effects quickly. Devil skinned, I thought that looked all right.
Yeah. It's a hairy mole, isn't it?
Yeah, but the devil. So,
and this was my biggest problem with my blurred version, is because I could see there was something, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
It was terrible.
No.
Her eyebrow ridge got bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she was almost sort of recognisable. I was thinking, is that the same one from the start?
Yeah. So we're talking about Angel now. So when she goes full on.
Played by Linda Hayden.
Yeah, she's cool. When she goes full on sort of Devil Town, her eyebrows do get crazy.
Yeah,
they meet her hairline.
Yeah.
So
which is nice.
It was filmed in a place called Bix Bottom, Western Maidenhead.
Cool.
An isolated farmhouse remnant of a village wiped out by the plague. It was the only thing that was left around there. I thought the woods looked good. Good setting.
Yeah, it was nicely set, definitely.
I genuinely believe this. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The countryside and just, those times of when you're running away from a mob. You're never going to come across an actual road. You're never going to come across an actual street. You would have been running through woods and brooks and streams and all that. And it's just, I don't know. I really like it. There's certain like long open scenes where you see a load of sort of horses running through a gate and disturbing the cows.
Yeah.
And the cows sort of run away, but the actors are right there amongst it, and it feels natural. It feels real.
When you can almost see the BBC van next door. You know, the acting is like the woman who lost both kids, did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've lost both my children.
Mark
Yeah,
I'm very sad about it. You know,
But
it's like
when we lost Mark, right? Okay, which I think is probably one of the first deaths in it.
Is the first one.
Okay, when she goes back to the farmhouse and that one, she's walking back to the farmhouse with the ointment to save his pain.
Yeah.
And this little arsehole chucks a stone and smashes the bottle. What are you doing up there? What are you doing? Ha! We put him in the shed or whatever. We put him in the wood, and then runs off. She goes down to the shed and looks into the wood stack, and it's like my mark, and she's pulling the wood away. Did that scene do anything for you?
Yes, it did. It made me go to the internet and check my results because that was inspired the song by the Divine Comedy. He said there's something in the wood shed.
It's just imagination.
So there you go.
Wow.
Top fact there.
Wow.
All right, look, memorable scenes.
I found that scene quite moving.
So there's a couple. The bit where so she's lost her 2 kids.
Yeah.
And they found Betty Spencer from Some Mothers Do Have Them. Margaret has been thrown in the pond to see if she's a witch, and they take her back to the house and they get the doctor to cut off the.
He sniffs it.
He does sniff it. That's a
Why
bit
does
weird.
he sniff it?
But when she wakes up, Betty Spencer says, "I'm the devil's child," and the mother says, "Oh hush, you're my child now." And it's just like the whole. And to your point about the brutality, and let's just circumvent any of the normality we would expect today. But that whole kind of, I've lost my 2 kids, but I found this kid. It's my kid now.
She wants to look after it.
And maybe the reason I can't take it seriously, I mean, like Jeffrey Hayden pops up, not Jeffrey, what's his name? Basically, the guy who plays Onslow and Eddie Yates. Jeffrey Hughes, He's in it for a minute. So it's like, we've probably seen all these actors.
You seen
again
that
and again
technique,
and
how he's drinking from his flagon?
No, is it like upside down?
Have you ever drank from a flagon?
A flagon?
Flagon.
No.
Well, basically, the technique that he is sporting is exactly the correct technique to drink from a flagon. You finger your nook, and then you rest that bitch on your arm, and then you tip it up.
All right, well,
your
look,
mouth.
let's wrap it up.
And then
No, look, listen, we haven't talked anything about this film at all, to really any degree. It's an unseen little gem, in my opinion. All right, I know you both don't think too much of it, but when I first saw it, I must admit, I probably didn't kind of get it as much, and I've seen it 2 times now, and on this second time, it's just, I don't know, there's just this, that cruelness, the subservience of people telling you, okay, this is kind of it now, this is what we're doing now, and the way things can be manipulated. I think it strikes certain chords, and I think it does a much better job than it's been really given credit for. And the devil element, when you say, oh, it looks awful, it does, but I mean, you saw it in bad quality and you couldn't really make it out. I watched it in really good quality and you still can't quite make it out. And it's a pathetic thing, you know.
Well, I watched it in medium quality and I can make it out. It looks shit.
The silly, you know, it's really ridiculous. The Lord turns up with his big floppy hat, all chubby belly, and his big sword and his silly gurn as he gets his sword up. And then this pathetic kind of cloaked figure sort of pops out, and that's the devil. And he knifes it and chucks it on the fire, as it were. You know, it's kind of pathetic. The devil's still trying to collect body parts, collect skin, get stronger and stronger. So it's still almost in that pathetic state. And, you know, I don't know. I think it's good. I'll shut up now. And it's got a really good soundtrack.
All right. And got any memorable scenes? I really struggled, to be honest. There was a woman banging a drum. Quite like that.
There was a woman banging
I did quite like the fact that at the end, the judge's body belies his strength when he can wield that sword, stick it through the devil, and pick the devil above his head to put it on the fire.
The devil's just weak and light and pathetic.
You tell him that when you see him.
It didn't quite chime with me on the film.
Laurie, what was your memorable scene?
I suppose. It's kind of a tricky one. Oh, it's hard. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I suppose really near the beginning, where Peter's love, Miss Barlow or Miss whatever her face is, goes into the upstairs cellar, and then when she comes out and her stare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you see the claw for the first time, don't you?
You see the claw for the first time.
Yeah. Was there blood on it?
No. When Peter loses his hand, actually, I noticed. So obviously he's got a little pug. They put a pork pie. It's like a pork pie.
That just sums up the whole film to me. There you go. What should we do? Use this pie.
Use this little pork pie.
Memorable lines. I've got. Do you want to come and play our games with us?
Yeah. To which the answer would be, Mark, say no.
Yeah.
For me, it's his line about I am ready to return, but understand I
Yeah.
use undreamed of measures.
Wyndham, that's amazing. You
Again-
can be in all these films.
My favourite's probably, again, a line from the judge. And I don't quite get it. So he's sat there speaking to Peter. His wife's just been put up in the loft, the attic. And then the judge has been having a drink. Peter's desperate to go up and have a bit with his thing. But anyway, his judge has been drinking all night. And he stands up and says, King James III, God bless him and keep him in exile. That bit. I don't know enough about history. Why do we want to...
Well, yeah, King James was the guy who was all about the witch hunters, and he had a witch hunter general, didn't he?
Well, God bless him and keep him in exile. What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Why do we want to keep him in exile?
I only know the bit that they covered in Doctor Who, which was very small. A month. All right, let's score it. Okay, well, Laurie, I know you're disappointed, so you get to go first.
Okay.
Performances.
7.
3.
4.
Fucking hell.
Wyndham. Effects.
4.
4.
Wankers. No, 5.
Plot. 5.
Well, there were 3 plots. So, well, there weren't really. 6.
5.
Rewatch factor, Laurie.
Surprisingly good, but 6.
0.
4. Direction, Wyndham.
4.
5.
The framing of those scenes, beautiful. Like, some of it, gorgeous. Like, bringing nature actually into the scene. There was a scene where you first see the priest guy, and he's picking up, he picks up a snake, and it's framed with the other 2 dudes, and actually the tree bellows of the tree are actually framing the whole shot. It's gorgeous. 8.
Cinematography, 6.
Oh shit! Should have said 8 for that one then. 8.
6.
Sound of music, Laurie.
Really like the music. 7.
4.
7. I like the music.
Do you like the voice of the devil?
No. I know, I heard him. Originality, Wyndham.
5.
6.
6.
Enjoyability, me, 4.
6.
3.
Life-changing, past or present, Laurie.
3.
0.
2. All right, let's add up these overwhelming scores.
Stop it.
Just 2. Okay, I'm ready. 47 from me.
62 from me.
And Wyndham.
Wow! Wow! I beat Wyndham! That's a first! What were we, episode 18? Holy shit!
No,
That's
he's
only
been
because I
working
was
out
working
the
it
other
out.
scores.
Mine's 34.
Oh, you'd already done it?
Yeah.
Mother.
So what does that give us?
So that gives us 47.6 recurring.
All right, so what I forgot to do, and I'll do it this time, is we've got 2 leaders. We've got this year's.
We do.
So it puts it at the bottom of this 46.6 reoccurring again.
47.6 recurring.
66666.
Can't recur.
Oh, no,
yeah,
eventually there's a 7.
Don't like this. All right, so
what are we supposed to do now?
well, pray. But it also puts it on the massive leaderboard at number 25. So just below Critters, but above Fahrenheit 451. So not too. It's still beat in the mouth of madness.
Yeah. I thought this was going to come in under that.
Yeah.
But you love it, it's all
Yeah,
right.
you love it. It's okay.
What's the point? We've got difference of opinions.
It's a good film.
All right. So look, we've talked for nearly 2 hours, so we need to. Whose turn is it? Is it mine?
Yours, I think.
Yes! Ha! Don't try and usurp him. I'm already thinking about I don't want to choose your choice. I haven't even heard.
Wait, don't start. You do
Right,
this all
number
the time.
30.
Number 30.
Let's
Quick
have
and
a
dirty.
look.
Number 30.
How exciting. Number 30 is portmanteau.
Yay! Yay! Oh, this is great.
Let's celebrate too quickly.
Fantastic.
William, give us your first choice.
My first choice is Cat's Eyes.
Cat's Eyes. Okay.
Don't ask me anything about it.
I've seen it. Laurie, what's your first choice?
Cat's Eyes is great.
Cat's Eyes?
No, mine's going to be Mario Bava's. Probably, I think Mario Bava's best film ever, followed by Kill Baby Kill, but it's called Black Sabbath.
Okay. Wyndham, what's your second choice?
Second choice is Tales from the Crypt.
Okay. And Laurie?
I'm doing myself a disservice. I've run out of time, basically, people, so I'm really, really sorry. I've let you down. So I shall say The Vault of Horror, and to tickle your nipple, it boasts Tom Baker as an artist who can basically kill with his art. But it's that old Hammer horror portmanteau.
I've chosen.
Okay.
All right. First choice is going to be Tales from the Crypt. Second choice is going to be No, it's not. It's going to be Black Sabbath.
Yay!
Cool.
Well,
Oh,
that's
Black
all right.
Sabbath is so good!
Well, there you go.
Wicked.
Crypt's alright.
Hey, I haven't seen any of those, so
All right,
that works
well,
for me.
obviously drive home safely tonight in this stormy, dark
Yeah.
night.
Oh, it's shit weather, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
Right.
Rubber.
Good times.
I'm going to go and put the light on. You guys, what are you doing?
I'm going to pray.
You're praying. You're welking tonight, aren't you? William?
I am.
Welking?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Catching whelps.
Oh, right.
It's the best time to do it.
Friendly
Stormy
podcast, you know.
Exactly.
Oh,
Can't you see he's got his Welk eyes on? Look at him.
It's not welcome under the table with him. Right. Good night.
Good night.